Good evening. It's Saturday, March 1st, 2025, and I'm with Mr. John J. Jeckovich, a World War II hero, and three beautiful girls. Could you introduce yourself to the left, your full name?
My name is Dania Lopez.
And your full name?
Diamond Thompson.
And your full name?
I'm Leah Wilkerson.
Well, welcome. Welcome to three beautiful girls in Mr. Jeckovich's life. But we have a very special one here today. This one here is her birthday.
39 years old.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
She's 39 years old. And as we say in South Carolina, because you're 39 years old, you're celebrating the 18th anniversary of your 21st birthday. 18th anniversary of your 21st birthday, which makes you 39. It makes you feel a little younger. So you help me open the birthday thing?
Yeah.
Help it, open it up.
Yeah.
Open it up, say it.
Huh?
Happy birthday song.
Oh, happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to
you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
And many more.
Happy birthday to you.
And many more.
And many more.
I like that. So we have a special group here today with Mr. John J. Jeckovich, and and they're wonderful girls. And Mr. Jeckovich, by the way, was a World War II hero. He was in Company H, the 2nd Battalion of the 291st Regiment of the 75th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army during World War II. An interesting fact, when Mr. Jeckovich went into World War II, he was just a teenager. He was right out of high school. And his troop was affectionately called the Diaper Division. They were saying that nicely, not meanly. His troop and platoon was called the Diaper Division because they were such young boys. They're just right out of high school. But Mr. Jeckovich was in many wars as a teenager during World War II. Mr. Jeckovich was shot up in the shoulder by a sniper. He got trench foot, frostbite, which he still suffers from today. He was bombed by what's called a dirty bomb. A dirty bomb is the Nazis blow a bomb over your head, but inside the bomb, the Nazis put like razor blades, old tools, pieces of metal, so it'll hurt these soldiers even more. And until right now, where his hand is right now on his knee, he still has metal in it. Shrapnel is still in his leg from the bomb.
Wow, you're
Still in his leg from the bomb.
Right?
And if he would go through, for example, airport security, all the alarms would go off. All the alarms.
have to pat
because
him
you
down.
got
the metal detector
Yeah.
and stuff.
Oh.
And that dirty bomb, let me continue with the dirty bomb. That dirty bomb blew up over Mr. Jeckovich's head, and his good friend was in the same foxhole with him called Donald Lape, and that blew off Donald Lape's head. And the only thing was left was Donald Lape his glasses were hanging on one ear, and Mr. Jeckovich removed the glasses and closed Donald's eyes and wrote a beautiful letter to Donald Lape's mother and father. And that was just some of the tragedies of World War II. And ironically, Mr. Jeckovich has been retired in Florida for many years, but Donald Lape's brother, we didn't know this until Donald Lape's brother died, lived only 2 blocks away from Mr. Jeckovich for 20 years, and we didn't know that, but we found out later. So Mr. Jeckovich was affectionately called Division, Diaper Division, because they're all young kids. The code was 33s, but because Mr. Jeckovich was in the bloodiest battles, it was called the Battle of the Bulge, and that came out of the Ardennes Forest in Germany. And the Ardennes Forest in Germany was heavily wooded, so the American soldiers never thought that there would be a Nazis in there because it was so difficult to get tanks through. And it was the coldest winter of record. It was 30 below. Did you have the proper clothing?
No.
Did you have the proper clothing?
No.
Didn't have the proper. So the story was this. There was a little town called Bastogne, and Mr. Jeckovich and about maybe several thousand other American soldiers were in that town called Bastogne, and he's surrounded by 600,000 Nazis. 600,000 Nazis. And if the Nazis would have took that town of Bastogne, they might have won the war. So, but what happened is Mr. Jeckovich and several other military combat veterans, they fought them off until reinforcements could come. It took a long time to get reinforcements because they couldn't fly any planes because the weather was so bad. Right. So almost everyone in that battle at Bastogne was killed. So now they no longer named Mr. Jeckovich's division of the Diaper Division. They now named him two things, respectively. The Bulge Busters, because that was the name of the war, Battle of the Bulge, and also because it was such a bloody war, and they held Bastogne, they were also called the Bloody Bastards of Bastogne, because if they let the Nazis take a foothold, it would be very, very bad. So after Mr. Jeckovich was shot up and bombed, stabbed and beat up, they sent him to Paris for 3 months to recover.
Wow.
3 months to recover. And by the way, he met some girls there. He met a nice girlfriend in there.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't waste no time. He met a beautiful girl. Her name was Renee. And Renee was such a beautiful girl. She was in the convent as a nun in Paris.
Right.
But what happened was the Nazis took over Paris for 4 years. And what happened is couple people came to they came to the Roman Catholic convent in where Renee was. They said, "Listen, the Nazis just tortured and killed your parents," and so that made her very upset. And then about a month later, nice to see you.
Thank you.
Sorry,
I'll be back.
You go. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. So after that, the nun was in the convent, and now they came to her and said, listen, they just tortured your teenage brothers and sisters, and they killed 2 brothers, and they killed them. So Renee left becoming a nun. She left the convent, and what did she join, Mr. Jeckovich?
Resistance.
She joined the French Resistance. Look at that. Look at that.
All right.
She joined the French Resistance. And the French Resistance was an underground movement that killed the soldiers. Renee, this is a good part of it, Renee, the former nun, was extremely talented. And she had a nice apartment in Paris. And what was the apartment? It was a studio, right?
Yeah.
It was an art studio. Renee would paint all the portraits of the German officers. And why'd she do that?
Well, the German officers got together there, and they're egotistical. They start talking how great they were, and she took it over to give it back to the Allies.
Yeah.
And the information he had.
Yeah. So Renee was an artist, a portrait artist in Paris, and she purposely picked the German officers to paint their portraits so she could get information what was going on, because she hated the Germans, but she didn't let them know that. And then she would give the information to the French Resistance to try to kill some of the Germans. Mr. Jeckovich, what was your headquarters like of the French Resistance?
Down in the sewer.
It was in a sewer. They had to keep a low profile in Paris. So eventually, this is what happened. This Renee prayed for Mr. Jeckovich every night that he survived the war, and so did his mother. But what finally happened to Renee?
She got killed. They got caught her and took her out in the woods and shot her.
The Germans found out that this young girl,
How old is she?
22, 23 at the most, a former nun with a big heart, was taking the information and giving it to the French Resistance. So what did they do to her?
Shot her.
Took her out back.
Down on the head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a really brutal and bloody war. So when Mr. Jeckovich finally healed somewhat of his wounds, the Army said, because they were so short on people, the Army said, if you could squeeze the trigger to your machine gun, and if you could walk, what do you call it?
Fit for duty.
Fit for duty. So they sent him right back to the war. They sent him right back to the war. So he had to go back to the war, and it was a real bloody war. Keep in mind, during World War II, 16,400,000 young men and women were from the United States were participating in the war. 16,400,000, and now almost all of them are gone because of old age or got killed during the war. And now we have only 6,000 combat veterans left. He's one of them.
Oh,
6,000. This is a fact. We have 6,000 combat veterans left, and we're losing them at a rate of 150 a day. So do the math. This is the last of the living guys, combat veterans. And Mr. Jeckovich wrote this big 800 and, how many pages?
849.
849 pages book. He didn't write it, he'll never sell it. He wrote the book, but he'll never sell it, or just, he wrote the book to share knowledge with young people so they can have a better life, so they can learn from him. And that's what it's about. He doesn't need any money of any type, but he wrote the book, so not for money because it'll never be for sale, but he wrote it to share with young people to see what World War II was about and have a better life. Keep in mind this is something interesting. When Mr. Jeckovich was born in 1925, gasoline was 7 cents a gallon. You could fill up your whole car for $1.50. Beautiful houses were $2,000.
Wow, 2,000.
Yeah, brand new cars.
Yeah.
Brand new cars were $500. And then Mr. Jeckovich grew up through something called the Great Depression. That you might have seen in your history book, the Great Depression. But were you bothered by the Depression?
No, we had good food, we stuff warm, yeah.
And getting back to the book is titled Their Mother's Sons. The book is titled Their Mother's Sons, and what it basically involves is this. Mr. Jeckovich's father came from Russia, and he came in the country legally, and he worked very hard with 3 jobs. His father came from Russia, from a real dirty spot in Russia, and he came to the United States to give Mr. Jeckovich a better life. And so as a result, his father worked 3 hard jobs, day and night. At the age of 43, Mr. Jeckovich's father, his name was Marion Jeckovich, trying to give Mr. Jeckovich a better life. He died when he was laying cement, making sidewalks, and 43 years old. He was dead. And Mr. Jeckovich was about 11 or 12 then, and then from that point on, he fully took care of his mother. Until his mother was 89 years old, aged 89, and then she died. So Mr. Jeckovich was the sole provider of his mother from 11 years old to her 89. He never left. In fact, when the war was starting, if you enlisted in World War II, you would get a better position. Like his brother enlisted in World War II, and he never went to the battles. He stayed in the United States teaching people how to drive Jeeps. But he waited to get drafted because he wanted to spend more time with his mother. But once you get drafted, you don't get a good position. You generally get sent right to the front line. So he sacrificed everything to spend more time with his mother. And when he was in the service, they didn't really pay much, but keep in mind, Mr. Jeckovich sent his entire check home every month, every penny, home every month, never kept a dime. And so that was the book about. It takes him from 11 years old, and when he started taking care of his mother, when he got drafted, and then he found a beautiful lady. Her name was Delphine Stulak. Mr. Jeckovich met this beautiful lady. And so Mr. Jeckovich decided that was the one to marry. So they went to the Roman Catholic Basilica in a church. It was closed, but they still were able to go inside. And Mr. Jeckovich asked for her hand in marriage. And so she accepted. He put her engagement ring on her. And then they went to the altar, the Catholic altar of the Basilica, and they both said a prayer that they have a long and happy marriage. How'd that work out?
Well, we're married 89 years.
Yeah, he was married 69 years. Imagine, so prayers did work. Prayers did work. And then Mr. Jeckovich, when he got out of the service, he got married, but he still lived with his mother. He never left his mother. He took care of his mother. Then Mr. Jeckovich worked. Oh, here's an interesting part. The reason why he's sitting here today is this, and I'll tell you one of the reasons. Besides Renee's prayers and his mother's prayers, Mr. Jeckovich jogged for 80 years. He jogged for 80 years. When Mr. Jeckovich started jogging many, many decades ago, there was no one jogging. It was not fashionable. So what would people say to you?
Get off the street, you bum.
Yeah. So when you start jogging 80 years ago, it wasn't fashionable. No one did it. They would yell to Mr. Jeckovich, "Get off the street, you bum," because they thought he didn't have a car. And then what they throw at you?
Throw stones, rocks, and everything else.
They throw stones, empty cans of Genesee, and one time they took a full can of Campbell soup and hit him right in the head. But all those people that treated him really badly, that said, get out of the road, you bum, they're all gone, and he's still here. He's still here because he jogged for 80 years. He jogged for 80 years. And this year here, 2025, Mr. Jeckovich is knocking on the door of 100.
100.
And Mr. Jeckovich, all his life says, because he jogged all the time, he never stopped jogging. Mr. Jeckovich said all his life, he's got 2 doctors, his left leg and his right leg. And those are his 2 doctors. His left leg, because he kept on going. He kept
That's
on.
right, when the wheel's here now.
Yeah. Well, listen, that's a trade-off. Like Mr. Jeckovich brought up a point. He's in a wheelchair now. He's in a wheelchair because he jogged for 80 years. It blew out his knees, but his health is beautiful. You know, if you didn't jog, you probably wouldn't be here. So your knees are gone. You're in a wheelchair because that was a trade-off. But I think it was a pretty damn good trade-off.
Yeah.
I think it was a damn. And then Mr. Jeckovich, when he got out of service, he worked for a company called Kimberly-Clark. What did they do?
Kimberly-Clark made papers for magazines and that, and the other section made
Kleenexes, Kotex, and he worked there for 35 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 35 years. But listen to this. He never missed one day of work. His tires of his cars never went on the parking lot of Kimberly-Clark. How'd you get there every day?
Walk.
What would you do during a snowstorm?
Walk.
What would you do during a rainstorm?
Walk.
He never missed for 35 years, and he walked.
Was in Florida?
It was in New York,
Oh,
Niagara Falls, New York. He was raised at 3063 Orleans Avenue, and he lived there all his adult life. And so when Mr. Jeckovich also worked at Kimberly-Clark, he was like his father, a hard worker. Mr. Jeckovich had laundromats called self-service laundromats, where you go in and it's open.
Yeah, 24.
24 hours, and you clean the clothes. But people came from to come to his laundromats because they're spotless.
Yeah.
Spotless.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Jeckovich, because he lived in a really bad snow belt, lots of snow there, he had a snow plowing business where he plowed driveways and businesses. And then he also did lots of carpentry work and cement work. So he's like his father. He was always working. Minutes, please. He was always working all the time. And then when Mr. Jeckovich's
11.
when Mr. Jeckovich's mother passed away, which she was with him from day one, Mr. Jeckovich was with his mother from day one, and that's when he came to Florida. So Mr. Jeckovich has been retired in Florida for about 45 years.
1980.
Yeah.
So you came in 1980.
Yeah, 1980.
He's been retired here for 45 years. That's a beautiful retirement, Mr. Jeckovich.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Mr. Jeckovich came from a town called Niagara Falls, New York, which was pretty then. It's not pretty now.
He told me that in the morning.
Yeah. But tell us why it's not pretty now.
Yeah.
Why isn't the town pretty now?
Well, the mafia took it over.
Okay, the mafia was big presence there. You know what the mafia is? Mm-hmm. And here's what Mr. Jeckovich, this is an interesting story. Mr. Jeckovich, and you can Google this name, Mr. Jeckovich used to plow funeral homes, and one of the funeral homes he plowed was called Stefano Magaddino. Stefano Magaddino was the head of all the mafia of New York and Buffalo. Mr. Jeckovich was just doing a job plowing. And one time at 10 o'clock in the morning, Stefano says to Mr. Jeckovich, come on in for breakfast. And what did they see? What did they have?
Spaghetti.
And they all had big aprons on and all suits. And they're sitting at this big long table at 10 o'clock in the morning eating spaghetti for the breakfast. And the head guy, Stefano Magaddino's here, and all the rest of the people are there. And behind them there's rosaries and crucifixes and all pictures of Jesus.
But tell them what happened.
Well, I've got to get to them. They're all big Roman Catholic, but Mr. Jeckovich is sitting there and tell us what happened.
Well, the gentleman sitting ahead of me, somebody came with a baseball bat and hit him in the head.
Yeah, at the table.
Knocked his head off.
Yes.
Knocked his head off.
See,
What's president?
Mr. Jeckovich was sitting there, she get a picture of a big, long mahogany table, and they said, come on in for breakfast. So he comes in with all these big guys in suits, and he didn't know how to tell them no. And then someone said something wrong and took a baseball bat.
Yeah, he was
And I-
after him, yeah.
And they killed him. But I said to Mr. Jeckovich, jokingly, I said to Mr. Jeckovich, what the hell would they have done to you if they didn't like your snowplow job?
Yeah.
I said that jokingly. So he's been through all kinds of different things. All kinds of different things. So his mind is like, if you girls have to go, you're welcome, you could go if you have to. I understand, we'll keep up, we'll pick up tomorrow. But at least we got you on your birthday.
What, what's the name? What's the name of the guy?
Stefano
All right.
Oh, yeah, Stefano?
Magadino.
Stefano.
I'll text it to you. What's your number?
You're fine.
I'll text it to
That's
you.
Italian?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm gonna text it to you. Okay, wait, hold on a second. What's your number?
Oh,
I can't see nothing.
Ah,
What's your number? Where's your number?
you want to put it on the radio?
That was very interesting.
Magazino.
Text it to me and text me and I'll
Magadino,
text
yeah.
you. Text me, I'll text you the name and you can look it up. Thank you very much. Thank you very
I'm
much.
sorry, we have to go.
You gotta go.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. We don't have signal here. I will text you over the. Over
Yeah, call me when you can. Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
bye-bye,
Happy
bye-bye.
birthday. What a beautiful girl, son. Huh?
Yes.
How much time we got?
Let's see. Keep talking. We got 8 minutes.
Okay. Well, you had some more nice guests.
Yeah.
I heard you had a very special guest today.
Oh, Amber.
What a beautiful girl. Amber Nicole Jeckovich is Mr. John J. Jeckovich's great-granddaughter, and she comes here about 4 times a week.
We had lunch we were going to do.
Yeah, he had lunch. And Mr. Jeckovich, and Amber doesn't live close. She's way up the other end on A1A. Luckily, she lives on the ocean because she's an avid surfer. She'll roll out of bed. But Amber is more than an avid surfer. She's surfed all around the world many a time, chasing a wave. But she's a missionary. So she'll come here and like she takes her Bible or raggedy old Bible, but it's doing the job. And sits here and reads some Bible verses with Mr. Jeckovich, and they talk about everything in general. They get along like 2 peas in a pod, right?
Yeah.
2 peas in a pod. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we had all family members like Amber Nicole Jeckovich? Wouldn't it be a beautiful life if all family members were like Amber?
Yeah.
Coming here, sitting here,
Yeah.
talking,
Loving.
loving, yeah.
Yeah, loving,
And
yeah.
there's nothing, she's such a beautiful girl, but there's nothing that she would say to upset anybody. Nothing she would say to upset anybody. Doesn't come in with a bad attitude, comes in with a beautiful attitude. Just think about some of the other relatives we got. Oh my God.
No, now you're forgetting Delphine. Delphine was a sweetheart.
Delphine was a sweetheart. She's the best of the best.
She's a sweetheart of the
She's the
ones.
best of the best.
Yeah.
You couldn't find a better lady like that. And you were blessed for 69 long years of marriage. Most people don't get 10. You were blessed. You were blessed. And so now you got Amber and sits here and visits you. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Compared to your other relatives, wow.
Well, I'll get some questions out of the book now.
Oh, hell yeah. I didn't even read 2 pages. How many minutes we got there?
Just under 6.
Okay, now remember this, Mr. Jeckovich. These are questions from all around the United States. So if you don't feel like answering, don't.
Okay.
Because some
okay.
people, it might be important to them, but not to, it's just not in line. Mr. Jeckovich, do you believe in karma?
Who?
Karma. Karma, like things happen for a reason.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Do you believe in the term, Mr. Jeckovich, because you wrote the book, Their Mother's Sons? Do you believe in the term, mothers know best?
Yes.
Okay. What freedom do you feel, Mr. Jeckovich, because you fought for freedom for World War II? What freedom do you feel is not really free anymore?
There's nobody actually taking care of. There's no more government taking care of anybody now. You're all on your own.
On your own. Mr. Jeckovich, what is the most thing you are thankful for?
Thankful for?
Thankful for. What are you thankful for?
I was a family man. I was a
Okay.
family man.
Thankful for being, that's a good answer. A good answer. Mr. Jeckovich, if you just, would you want to be cremated or have a full-blown funeral?
Cremated.
Where would you want your ashes spread? Or do you want them in a
In an urn.
urn? Or would you want to be sent to Arlington?
A what?
Would you want your ashes be sent to Arlington?
No.
Why not?
What are they going to be doing there? There'll be nothing personal there.
So right now, the plan is urn, John Jeckovich, urn, Delphine Jeckovich.
Yeah.
Side by, that's a good answer. Are you neat or a messy person?
Neat.
Wow. What is the biggest thing in your life you need to improve now?
That I can improve now?
Yeah.
My long life.
Yeah, well, you're doing damn well at that. Mr. Jeckovich, do you like to travel?
No.
What sounds relax you?
What town?
What sounds relax you?
I like?
Yeah, what sounds, what music relaxes you?
Oh, music?
Yeah.
Glenn Miller, Tex Bederke, All Girl Orchestra.
Mr. Jeckovich, this book, we read it and heard about it every night for the last year and a half. We like it. But the book is titled Their Mother's Sons. In one sentence, Mr. Jeckovich, how would you describe your relationship you had with your mother?
My relationship with my mother was love and care.
Loving
And
care.
she knew it and I knew it.
Beautiful.
And my mother depended on me.
Beautiful. Mr. Jeckovich, what used to scare you as a child?
Huh?
What used to scare you as a child? What used to scare you as a child?
What scared me as a child?
Yeah.
That my parents would die.
Mr. Jeckovich, do you prefer baths or showers?
Showers.
Showers. Mr. Jeckovich, do you own a Swiss Army knife?
No.
Mr. Jeckovich, where are all your V-mails?
VMLs, my sister took care of those. She
By the way-
destroyed them all.
But maybe they're not destroyed. By the way, anyone listening, if you know where 150 Mr. Jeckovich's V-mails are, we'd be glad to pay you a handsome reward for them. $5,000.
You'll never find those. She
$5,000
destroyed
reward.
them.
Mr. Jeckovich, what is your favorite scent? What is your favorite scent?
Food.
Food. Would you prefer a candle or spraying in your room? A scented candle in your room or spray?
A spray.
A spray, aerosol spray for air freshener in your room or a scented candle?
I think the spray.
Spray.
I wonder if they still have copies of all those emails, because they put it on film.
Yeah, well, that's a good question.
I'll have to look into that.
What's that?
Mr. Jeckovich, when you were growing up, you loved children and family. Did you ever consider adopting a child?
No.
Okay. Mr. Jeckovich, we've seen some of the pictures when you were building a deck. What was the longest you ever grown your hair?
Probably over my shoulders.
Wow. Wow.
That's building that deck for Stevie. Stevie, yeah.
Wow. Do you have any phobias?
No.
Oh. Wow. Mr. Jeckovich, you grew up from the honeymoon capital of the world,
40 seconds.
and you witnessed many people going across the falls on a tightrope. Did you ever consider going on a tightrope?
Never.
30 seconds.
Wow. We got another one in the book. How do you want to close up? You got 20 seconds to say something.
20 seconds?
Say something, anything you want, 20
Right.
seconds.
Well, that's nice to have her here today with you guys.
Beautiful girls.
You know her pretty well. How do you know her?
We just know her from
We just
being
know
here.
them.
Yeah.
Beautiful girls. Let's say, what do you got to say? Your 20 seconds. You got 10 seconds.
Huh?
10 seconds left.
Well, I've got a good family members here.
Yeah.
I enjoy coming here every night.
Yeah, the studio